Good evening and salutations, my General Hospital fans. Going into this episode, this was another one of those middle ground kind of episodes where not a lot happened, but a couple of things happened. So, let's start with Curtis and Portia. We're just gonna do that scene straightforward. Um, So Curtis is sitting there asking Joy. Curtis is sitting there asking Portia, what else did Taggart tell you? And Portia is starting to get a little kind of defensive because she's like, well, why does it matter? I told you, pretty much like just going, just going over the same thing over and over again. Did he tell you anything? Did he tell you anything? Did he tell you anything? And after a while, she was like, well, why do you keep asking for it? And So that doesn't really go anywhere until Jordan comes in, and I'll get to the whole Jordan thing in the beginning. Well, let's talk about it now. So Jordan has her talk with IB or Internal Affairs, and Jordan pretty much is just spilling everything, practically saying it was them, it wasn't me, and I didn't know, and it was all them, and it was their idea, and I had no idea. And honestly, to tell you the truth, I'm not gonna lie. I don't understand how they could just sit there and take that stuff at face value. But right before she started giving a confession, no, right after she gave the confession, she walked outside the squad room, and that's when Laura and Mac were sitting there talking. Well, Mac was being kind of bitchy for some odd reason, and listening to asking her like, "What's going on? What is IB doing there?" And Jordan's pretty much just like, "Well, it's none of your concern." Yeah, because that's not suspicious at all. So she just pretty much just brushes them off. They're not they're not happy about it. And then they go to the conclusion, and I don't know how, but they go to the conclusion that I think she kind of told them a little bit. Jordan told Laura and Mac that it was the other people in the team that framed Cyrus, and she had nothing to do with it. And I think she just walks off. And they're just like, yo, that makes no sense. And Mac known this guy for years, so he knows that, Taggart's not that type of person. So he wants to find out what the hell is going on. Laura's like, yo, dig into it because something's not right. Either way, something's not right. So far, he kind of seems like he's one of probably two people that doesn't believe that Taggart actually did what he did. Now the thing is, he actually did do it. But the thing was, he wasn't the only person. Jordan also helped fabricated evidence. So while they are in disbelief, it is actually true. With that being said, let's move on. So, Cam and Trina pretty much talk about nothing. I mean, they talk about everything else except for their feelings toward each other and what they're gonna do with it. And it was kind of weird because Cam was just like, "So did you tell Jocelyn?" And Trina's like, "No," and he's like, "Oh, thank God." And I'm just sitting there thinking, "Damn, bro! Like, you just want to make sure that your kiss didn't mess up anything that's going on with Jocelyn, because that's how it looks, and that's how it's gonna feel to Trina." But I mean, whatever, they're teenagers, so they pretty much talk around in circles, and nothing really major happens out of it except for the fact that Cameron's just like, "Listen, you need to be careful with Ava because of the stuff that I heard," and Trina is still just like, "Listen, Ava's been cool to me, so if you have a problem with her, that's on you, but she's been nothing but gracious to me." And that's pretty much about it until Trina and Cam walks into the office, Portia's office. And I'll tell you what happens at the end of that. So, moving on. Julian and Britt is still hooking up, and I mean, not really a lot that's happened except for the fact that I felt like Julian sometimes just need to keep his mouth shut. I don't know. Sometimes he just portrays men as like when the minute that they get something or like sex or whatever, they always ruin it with their mouths. Like they always say something that's just like, dude, shut up, just shut up. They talk for a little bit, nothing major except for the fact that Britt is upset because Brad is in jail and Brad is Britt's only friend. The only person who really gets her and understands her, and without that, she's lost. So, in not so many ways, Julian pretty much kind of apologizes. They talk for a little bit, and Britt realize, because they talk about Neil for some odd reason, and Britt is just like, yeah, I know him. Him and Alexis practically hooked up in New York City. And Julian gets overly protective and everything like that, gets pissed off, drives Britt to the hospital. They get on the elevator, and Britt is just like, you need to breathe because I don't need you going in there acting stupid. And that's exactly what he does when he gets into the office. He practically tries to choke the hell out of Neil. And that's pretty much where that scene ends. I mean, honestly, tell you the truth, it's just, them pillow talk, and then he finds out about, their relationship between Neil and I was gonna say Nancy, Neil and Alexis. Because he feels like, Julian feels like Neil took advantage of her. Doctor, patient, and everything like that. So, of course, he's acting very possessive, like he still, has some sort of claim to her, but whatever. Looking at my cheat sheet. The only thing in the beginning before that whole altercation between Neil and Julian is that Alexis tells Finn about how she lost her sobriety, and it had a lot to do, let's be honest, had a lot to do with what Sam said, and it's really just getting to her. And of course, Neil comes in, they act all awkward. Finn asks both of them, kind of a legal medical question, and for a second it's almost like they just stared into fucking space, thinking about the sex that they had. Nothing major except for the fact that Finn was sitting there saying that this patient was taking some sort of drugs, and he was confessing to crimes that he may or may not did, and asking Alexis for her legal advice and asking Neil for his medical advice. That was about it. So, let's continue with Lulu and Olivia. So, pretty much, they're hanging out. It's Lulu and Dustin. They're at the Metro Court, and they see Brooklyn, and they stare daggers at each other. And Ned is just like, Brooklyn, listen, you can't be acting out over there, like. And I don't know if it happened first or after, but yeah, no, it actually happened after. Never mind. So Olivia comes to the table, comes to Lulu and Dustin's table, and pretty much just confronted her and was like, listen, what you did was messed up because you didn't just mess over Brooklyn, you messed over, your family. You pretty much just turned your back over your family just to get one over on Brooklyn. And it was probably the best comment. It was probably the best comment in the episode, because that's literally what she did. She turned her back on the Quartermaines, on her fucking other family, just to get back at Brooklyn. So to be honest, I was waiting for that shit. And granted, I haven't been a fan of Olivia butting into Lulu's dating life, because at the end of the day, she can date whoever the hell she wants, and it's none of your damn business. But yeah. And then of course, Lulu asked Dustin the same thing, and Dustin tries to do somewhat of the compliment sandwich, and he basically just says the same thing. You didn't actually have to do that to her. Somebody, and of course Lulu keeps sitting there trying to justify it by sitting there saying, "Oh well, if I didn't," I think she tried to justify that to Olivia. She's like, "Well, if I didn't, then somebody else would have." And Olivia was just like, "Well, then somebody else would have, but it wouldn't have been you." And of course they invite Brooklyn over there. One sec. So yeah, pretty much Dustin Dustin just said what Olivia said. And then Lulu invites Brooklyn over to the table. And, for whatever reason, apparently it's very difficult to apologize to Brooklyn, even though you did screw her over and you screwed over her family. She has this hard time trying to apologize, and basically she half-asses the apology. And of course, Brooklyn tries to get back at her in some sort of way by Smith is saying, "Oh, well, let me have your boyfriend." And I'm like, okay, that's just fucking great. That's wow. The pettiness continues apparently. So we'll see what happens tomorrow's episode, because that's sort of previews and they're gonna dive more into that. And sorry about that. I just want to make sure that I didn't forget anything. So towards the end, because I don't think anything else happened. So towards the end, Jordan, confesses to Portia that she didn't know anything, and it was Taggart and the other three that planted evidence, against, Cyrus. And Portia just eats it up. I mean, she doesn't, granted, she's like, "Oh, you sure you had nothing to do with it?" At first, she's like, "Oh, well, that would explain everything." I'm like, really? She just basically said that your ex-husband was a dirty cop and you just believed her at face value. And then she starts to question, like, well, how come, like, you didn't know anything? He's your partner. You tell me that, you guys think alike and you work together, and you're telling me that you didn't know what was going on with Taggart and anyone else. And she's like, nope. And of course, Curtis Curtis is there to, help keep the lie straight and help keep Jordan from falling apart. And that's when Trina comes in, and she, is acting all bitchy and everything, talking about, "What are they doing here?" I'm like, what do you mean, what are they doing here? I thought you had a problem with Curtis. You never actually said you had a problem with Jordan. So what's up with that attitude? But tomorrow is going to be interesting because, again, from the previews, you're going to find out what's really going on and how Trina really takes it. As far as them saying that Taggart was a dirty cop and that he, made up evidence. So, yeah, that was pretty much about it. Not really a lot happened. Except for in the beginning. So yeah, when Brooklyn was in the room shooting daggers with Lulu, Brooklyn was talking to her dad, and Brooklyn is just like, "Listen, I got my career back and everything like that," and that's just like, "How'd you do it?" And of course, Brooklyn is being evasive and everything, and talking about, "Oh well, you have your secrets, I have mine." So of course she doesn't. Of course she doesn't sit there and say anything, and just walks off. And then Olivia comes in, questioning Ned, like, why you didn't pressure her? Why didn't put any pressure on her? What good would that would have done? But you know, Olivia's like, listen, if she got out of it on her own, it can't be anything good. And that's pretty much what goes on with that before she confronts Lulu and says what everyone in the audience was already sitting there thinking. So that is pretty much about it for the recap. Thank you for watching. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for liking and subscribing and all that good stuff. I really do appreciate it. And I look forward to seeing you in the next review. All right, bye.